What is on the horizon is the July recruiting period. And with the transfer portal now closed and probably 98% of college rosters finalized for next season, college coaches are finally able to focus on the rising senior high school class. And that means that over the course of the next 3 weeks, players, coaches are going to be on the road across the country. But you know who else is going to be on the road? NBA scouts are going to be on the road. Last week, we talked about who in the next year's 2025 NBA draft scouts are already looking at. But the reality is scouts are allowed to watch more high school basketball than ever now. They're allowed to go to the Peach Jam. They're allowed to go to the Adidas 3SSB and some of the other summer events. So even though it's 2 years down the road for a lot of these guys, and you very rarely see GMs or the primary decision makers, there's already some names that scouts are investigating. And let's be clear, no final decisions are being made. They're not being asked to publish any rankings or ratings. They're just starting their book. They're starting to keep notes and to track certain prospects. But the prospects that we know scouts are already intrigued with, well, it's some of the top names that you've seen in the 2025-26 rankings. Tops among them, AJ DeBonsa. We talked about him a couple weeks ago when he retained his spot as the #1 ranked player in the rising senior class. This is a jumbo wing loaded with skills, starting to make more dynamic athletic plays. And when it comes to sheer upside, AJ DeBonsa is someone that already has scouts' attention. Remember, he led the Peach Jam in scoring for a long stretch last season when scouts were allowed to be in the building. So his talent is nothing new for them. All right, now when AJ reclassified, when he went from 2026 to 2025, that created a space for a new #1. And we've seen that #1 go back and forth throughout the course of the last season. Tyron Stokes had it initially, then it went to Brandon McCoy. Most recently, Tyron Stokes has retaken the spot as the top-ranked rising junior in the country. And now you may ask, hey, is this too early for NBA scouts to start paying attention? Again, the answer is no. It's too early for them to start forming conclusions, but they are tracking him. They are monitoring him. This is a name that is already on the radar. And again, it's far from a guarantee. In fact, if anything, just means he's even under more of a microscope. But Tyron Stokes, given the gains he's made in the last season, has really impressed people, and that's why he retook that #1 ranking. He's powerful, he's athletic, and we've seen a vast uptick in the skill set within the last year. So he is someone that NBA scouts will be monitoring firsthand, in person, I should say, at the Nike Peach Jam beginning at the end of next week. Another guy, back to the class of 2025, one of the best players in all of high school basketball. You've heard me say he's the most reliable guy in high school basketball. That's Cameron Boozer. Cameron Boozer is one of 2 twin sons of Carlos Boozer. And to be honest with you, his game, while it's more versatile than Dad's, I think there's a lot of similarities. He's got great hands. He's a big-time passer. He can throw outlets. He can lead the break. There's really no glaring weaknesses in his game. In fact, I think he is the most well-rounded and reliable player in high school basketball. You've heard me say that before. I think scouts are watching just to see the evolution of his game. I think right now they feel very good about just how mature and versatile this player is. Whether or not he develops any star potential remains to be seen. Scouts will monitor that for the better part of the next 2 years, but this is someone who is already on the NBA radar. Another name that scouts are tracking is Brandon McCoy. We mentioned him earlier. McCoy was someone who briefly held the #1 ranking in the class of 2026. He currently sits at #2. And I should mention that every single player we've talked about so far, AJ DeBonsa, Tyron Stokes, Cam Boozer, and Brandon McCoy, is currently in Turkey participating with the USA Basketball 17 and under team trying to win gold at the World Cup. Brandon McCoy is someone that has made nice strides in last year. He's a big guard. He's really filled out, become more of a power guard. He's an elite defensive player. For someone who's this young and already this celebrated, he does not have any BS to his game whatsoever. This guy gets after it. He guards. He competes. There is no entitlement. Scouts absolutely love that. The last prospect I'm going to mention, another rising senior, and we talked about him earlier on this show, that's Darren Peterson. Bossy gave you the recruiting update of what he may be thinking, but this is one of the most prolific scoring guards in all of high school basketball. He has a level of polish to him that I don't know any other guard in the country possesses, because he can effortlessly get his shot at a multitude of different ranges. He clearly has hopes of being a one-and-done prospect. And that means it's incumbent on NBA teams to start to do their due diligence. Again, I will continue to emphasize this. Just because NBA scouts are in the building, and they're in the building now more than ever, it does not mean that anything is a guarantee for any of these players. If history has taught us anything, it's no matter how hyped up you are in high school, you still have to earn your way to the NBA. And once you're there, you have to earn your way to your second contract. It is a constant process of not letting entitlement get to you. But those are some of the early prospects that NBA scouts are going to be watching this month. We will have much more on the coming live period in next week's show. But until then, make sure you enjoy the 4th of July, and we'll see you real soon. Don't forget, 247sports.com, 50% off that annual membership, or $1 for your first month. It ends Tuesday, July 16th at 11:59. Don't miss out. We'll see you next week.